Good morning. So today we're talking about the first sin of man. This morning I was listening to the 5-Minute Fatherhood podcast. It's also on YouTube. That's with Jeff Bethke and Jeremy. And when those guys put something into words that just never clicked for me. I've heard people talk about this 1,000 times, and it somehow never clicked. Other sermons I've heard where I don't know, maybe I'm stupid for not getting it when people are using all this fancy lingo and they ramble on. They sound really smart when they're saying all this stuff, but it all comes down to wording, I think, and the words that you choose can mean something totally different if you're saying the same thing. So people rattle on about selfish aggression and selfish passivity, and I've heard that so many times, and I just never really clicked, I guess. And so today, anyway, I'm listening to the 5-Minute Fatherhood podcast, and I think it was Jeremy. He was talking about man's first sin, and he talks about, and I've heard this before too, Adam was standing right next to Eve when she took the first bite. Everybody, Eve was the first one to sin, it was the woman's fault, and blah, blah, blah. And the Bible says that Adam, who was there with her, or the man who was there with her, so he's standing right there watching her, passively doing nothing. And it just clicked for me. All of those sermons that I'd heard in the past, and all the times that people talked about passivity of man, and that's, my wife gets on to me all the time. I'll be on my phone, and my kids are asking me a question, and I'm just not even hearing them. And I guess just stopping and realizing that is sinful, and I'm just like it just hit me hard, and it hit me deep. I was kind of blown away, and I now know that that's something I need to work on. Like I said, my wife has told me that over and over. She's amazing. My wife, she's an amazing mom. But she's pushing me in the direction that I need to be as a father. And I go back to what I've always said about not being able to push your passions on anyone else, and I know that. I know that about me. I know that someone else can tell me something that's perfectly logical and perfectly good, but whatever their passion is, and her passion has been that I be the most engaged father and pour into our children and really engage with them and just talk to them eye to eye, face to face, and spend quality time with them, and it's never really clicked for me, I guess. And you have to come to those conclusions on your own. And that's what happened to me today. It's just, I don't know, like I said, it's something so simple but so life-changing. Like, this is a big deal that I now have a new goal for my life and for my fatherhood to my children, that I've got to be more engaged and more present and stop being so passive, stop ignoring them. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like I said, I hate all this fancy lingo. Just stop ignoring them and stop paying more attention to your phone and whatever it was, Instagram or whatever you're doing, than your kids. What's more important than that? I don't know. I feel really dumb right now. Like I said, my wife's been telling me that. My son's 3, so she's been telling me that for a long time. Somehow it just now clicked. Hopefully that resonates with somebody else out there, and hopefully this can help you realize, whoa, hey, hang on a minute. That's what all this is about, and that's the greatest sin of man. And they talk about that more in the podcast too, that basically from that moment on forever, that was going to be one of the biggest sins of man, and how all guys are guilty of this. And if you stop and think about it, yeah, you know what, guys, we kind of are all guilty of this, or we're just so passive and we're not jumping in and being engaged and really doing or whatever it is. We're just kind of I don't know, I just rather kind of relax or just do whatever. And probably mostly with our wives. I think that's where it comes to a head a lot, is when women get mad because their husbands aren't actively pursuing them, and that's where the marriage gets stale. So anyway, like I said, a light bulb went off. I mean, it was kind of mind-blowing how little I had thought about this in the past. So anyway, a new pursuit of mine is to be more actively engaging with my wife and with my family, with my kids, and probably with God. This is going to be something I'm thinking about all day. So anyway, hopefully that gives you something to think about today. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.